Were you just going to ruin the whole day then? You were acting like horrible towards me.
What are you talking about? It's you 'cause you're in a fucking mood.
It's not
You're
nice.
the one who started it, Leisha, actually. I was trying to be nice to you. Honestly, she's absolutely talking a load of shite.
At times you watch Married at First Sight and you ask yourself, why are these people still on the show? Personally, Lee and Leah should have left. And with also Reiss and Leisha, they should have left. There's no point for them to stay in the experiment outside of the fact that the producers need more storylines and they just can't face the two. And then with the Grace and Ashley situation, sadly, Grace, in retelling her story, has fulfilled Ashley's biggest fear, because his biggest fear was that she was going to paint him into be the bad guy, and this is what has happened. And then if you look at Davide and Kia and Abigail and John, they are the people that found what they were looking for in the experiment. It seems like distance, nothing else matters to the two of them outside of being together. Yes, you have Rebecca and Bailey struggling with the distance situation, but that's a different story. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK, Season 10, Episode 30. We're slowly getting there. I'm trying to do the best I can to make sure that I catch up, but hey, it is what it is. So you have, it's after the commitment ceremony, you have the couples preparing for their final date. This is what I'm going to say. Producers had a big hand in who went on what date, because the story is the real life love story has got to go to the palace, whereas the roller coaster couple have got to go to the theme park, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so you have John. He has bought some flowers for Abigail and he writes a love story, which is really cute and goes in line with who they are as a couple and how they've presented. There are two people that entered this experiment looking for a life partner, found that person and decided to run with it and sort of shut their ears to everything else around them, which I love because I always root for love. Abigail then goes for a chat with Leisha. I don't know how to feel, because Leisha's upset at the fact that Reiss has said that he's 80% and she's 100%, and it's like, girl, you knew this from the start. This is not new news. This man has said it from day one, and it's said by you constantly sort of putting pressure on him that has been off-putting for him. And so the idea that you're still upset about the same thing and you're making it seem like it's something new doesn't make sense. What I feel is, looking at other couples and where they are, this is the problem for Leisha. She is trying to compare herself to Abigail and John, which will never be. She's trying to compare herself to Bailey and Rebecca, and it can never be, because they have their own challenges. David and Kia, they're totally different. I wish she had focused on her story with her husband and sort of slowed down when he asked her to slow down, because he said the more pressure she puts on, the more resistant I am. I don't know whether there's a Gemini, because that sounds more like a Gemini thing. Anyway, so Abigail is trying to pacify her and sort of make her understand that yes, the experiment is coming to an end. Yes, they need to look at life after the experiment, but she also needs to be realistic and sort of go at the pace that's comfortable for them and not everybody else's pace. For Leisha to say she's in love with Reiss, that was going to happen. Her sister warned us right at the start when she said good luck. And so I am not surprised by anything she said or anything she's done, because I think it goes in line with what we were prepared for by her family. You have Leah and Lee, they go for a pottery date. That was really cute. They tried to have that moment from that movie. What's that movie? Is it Ghost or something? And for me, there's this lack of that sort of that's something special. That's je ne sais quoi. That sort of intimacy that you need with a couple, particularly in this scene. Leah is likable on her own. Sadly, Lee is not, because of the way she was portrayed through her edits, or because of the things that she said. And so for them to have this turnaround moment and suddenly be all lovey-dovey, it doesn't fly for someone like me who's a hopeless romantic. Yes, there was concern about their relationship because it's been a roller coaster, and so they are unsettled and are worried about, the relationship post-experiment. I think everybody was reflecting on their relationship as the experiment is coming to an end, and there are genuine worries which we cannot minimize. So, hey, You then had Reiss and Leisha go on a date. This was producer driven. This was producer driven. They sent them to a theme park. Leisha wasn't impressed. I think she knew that Abigail was going to a palace, so this wasn't good for poor Reiss. Reiss thought it was a great idea. I wish she had taken it for what it was, because she's someone who goes at 100 miles an hour. She should have enjoyed and made the most out of that date. I'm pleasantly surprised by Rebecca, because Rebecca enjoyed her date. I would have expected Rebecca to throw a fit, but she was actually better behaved on her date. For this back and forth that they had, I think it was really unnecessary, because they argued. Because Leisha was upset about the date, they discussed, the outcome of their relationship post experiment. Leisha is saying, I hate the fact that you are not moving at the same pace as me, and that you're saying it's still 80%. And I have to keep giving credit to Reiss, because Reiss has told her, you put too much pressure on me, and if you put pressure, I'm going to pull back. And he's told her from day one that, I'm not yet there. What's better for him to tell her the truth and say, I'm not yet there, than for him to lie to her and then turn around once the cameras go off and say, actually, I wasn't there, I just wanted to do it for the camera. So she has to appreciate his honesty, whether she likes it or not. She has to take it for what it is and keep it stepping. Abby then picked up her flowers and she saw her letter and she was really excited. She got dressed and she went for her date. So she was taken to a palace, and you had, her husband there, John. He was ecstatic. He was excited. John can't believe that he's landed the girl that he's landed. And on her part, Abby can't believe that she's landed the guy that she's landed. I think looking at everybody else around them in the experiment, they are grateful that they were paired with the person they were paired with. He got to show her a Lebanese tree, which she was happy about, because that's part of her heritage. And it was really sweet and endearing. And this goes in line with who they are. Because had they gone on the pottery date, I would have bought it, because this is who they are. They are that cutesy sort of lovey-dovey couple. Even if they had gone to the theme park, I would have bought anything Abby and John were selling me, because this is how they've sort of been packaged to us. So I love this for them. You then had, obviously, Leisha had refused to get on some of the rides. So eventually they got on one of these go-kart thingies on this roundabout thing. And she was still unhappy at the fact that this was the date that they had landed on. And it's like, girl, you have to speak to production. This man has no control over what you're given. You have to speak to production, let them know that you're unhappy with your date, and sort of continue from there. They started arguing. They then ended up being separated. You had cameras rolling, trying to pick up what they were saying. And then production is messy, because they showed us a clip of Reiss playing a game while you have Leisha in the background, busy moaning and groaning. And it's like, seriously, they're really wanting to sell us a very dysfunctional relationship, and this is it. Rebecca and Bailey went on this date where they climbed up this staircase and then they went down this massive slide. I don't know where it is. I might look it up and actually visit it one day. And so the idea that Bailey got on that, he really loves this woman. He really does. Because I wouldn't have done it. I have a fear of heights, and the idea of going up that, oh my God, would just give me a spin. Because being in Kuala Lumpur was a nightmare, because fear of heights in Kuala Lumpur they go hand in hand. So the idea that he was able to go up on it and he really decided to go down the slide shows he really loves it. He was trying to impress her. And for Rebecca, given how she always carries herself, I was pleasantly surprised that she enjoyed that date. I expected her to moan and say, I didn't want this, I wanted a palace date or whatever. But I was pleasantly surprised at the fact that she enjoyed it, and she nearly peed her pants laughing at Bailey when he was coming down the slide, because you could see the fear of God in his eyes. You then had Lee and Leah go on a date. Their date was really cute, but their problem is still the same thing. They're trying to sell each other, water, and tell each other that it's something new, and we know you can just get water anywhere. This is what I get from them, because the idea that they're saying we have a turbulent relationship, we've had ups and downs, but I really like you. We have feelings that are stronger than a friendship, and so. Yes, your feelings are stronger than a friendship, but that doesn't mean they are worth being called romantic. I think you're people who have become accustomed to one another and can't see yourself away from each other. That doesn't mean that you're in a loving, caring relationship. So I don't get why we're here. And I don't get why we're even wasting each other's time. There was conversation about trust issues. Lee came in with trust issues, and it seems nothing Leah has done has ever been able to sort of help, sort of reassure her. Yes, she wants reassurance. I don't think they're right for each other. I can't wait for the two of them to divorce. I think they might get to final vows, but at the end of the day, they will divorce. You had Abby and John. They went on a date, so they got to get them to change their clothes. And it's like the whole budget went to Abby and John because they are what the experiment is trying to promote. So the whole budget went to them, and then everybody else got the crumbs. So they went on this mad date, and they were just talking about their experience in the fact that they got paired with someone. They really liked the person they paired with. They see a future with that person. They understand that they will need to move. She is in Bournemouth, I think he said, and he's in Wales. That's quite a distance apart. And so they're looking at how do we sort of move together. I think it would be easier for Abby. I have forgotten what job John does, but Abby, as a vet nurse, she should be able to get a job in Wales. I don't know whether her mother would be happy for her to move that far, but they would be able to sort of move in together. They would be able to sort of build their little family. And I love their connection and how they've carried themselves as a unit in this experiment. They've always had each other's back. They've always cared and protected one another, and they have tried to keep out of everybody else's drama, which I love. And then Davide and Kia. Well, I think their budget went to going to watch the otters, so they didn't get a budget for that. Instead, they got a budget to sit in the cinema and watch their wedding. And it was really cute to see how they reacted on first sight, how excited they were, how, this thing seemed to just gradually progress. I know there were fears at the start when David said, he was slightly getting put off by some of the things that Kia said, but I'm happy that Kia was able to nip it in the bud because he really liked his husband and make sure that he continued to work on that. That way they could progress as a unit. You had Kia sort of buy David a present, and so he bought him a stuffed otter, and then they adopted 2 otters. It was really cute. I love this for them. This is sort of in line with who they are as a couple, and I can actually see them working post-experiment as a unit. I think it's just a matter of them compromising in regards where do they live. Does David want to continue to be a flight attendant, or does he want to sort of take something on the ground and progress from there? And so it was really cute to see their date. I really loved it. Oh my God. Reiss and Leisha. All the drama was centered around Reiss and Leisha today. So you had Reiss and Leisha. They went on their date. They still, obviously, the sadness from the fallout of their date. The Reiss is saying he doesn't want drama. He's always said he doesn't want drama. He's always said when there's drama, I take a step back. And so the idea that he's been paired with Mrs. Drama herself, Oscar winning, doesn't make sense. So there was a conversation that, you had Leisha saying she wants to build trust with him. He needs to sort of give her reassurance that there is feelings that will grow and that his feelings are definitely romantic feelings. And it's like, girl, I don't know what else you want him to say, and I don't know how else you want him to say it. And so for her to come out and tell him that I love you, I don't know what her intention was, whether it was a way of trapping him and making sure that he doesn't leave her, or whether she felt that she needed to say that in order to see if he could progress. I don't get it. She told him that she wants to be his priority, and he was sort of questioning that, I have I not been showing you that you're my priority? Have I not been giving you enough attention? And so I don't get them as a couple. I really struggle to understand them as a couple, and I don't know. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, is what I'm going to say. I don't see them working post-experiment. We then had Grace and Ashley meet up with the experts. Personally, I think this should have been done with the 2 of them side by side. I think because people could spin or say whatever they wanted. Case in point, Grace. Because Ashley's biggest fear has always been that Grace will say or do things that will sort of paint him in a bad light. And the story she told about him opening the door sadly did that. And the fact that she told the experts that, oh, he told me he's an engineer, so this door has nothing on him. And it's like, if that's what he said, why didn't she go to production and get them to protect her? She was still going after him when he walked away from the table and he said he was done. If she was so afraid and uncomfortable with him, why didn't she do anything to sort of let production know that she doesn't feel safe, she doesn't feel protected? I feel like she used a couple of buzzwords to get her point across, because she said that she felt like, he deflected everything she said, and she lost her voice, she lost herself, and he was fluid with the truth. And it's like, Grace, the problem we have here is there are no cameras. It's not like Married at First Sight USA where they have cameras in the houses. If they had cameras in the house where you and Ashley were, then maybe we would have an idea of what actually took place. Because she says that it's not just the ones that he opened the door. He's opened the door multiple times. He said, he was asked, and he said, I felt like she was my wife, and so we'd been physically intimate, so there's no need for her to sort of open the door. And she kept trying to bring up the same story about him, saying to her, oh, there's a sexy woman in front of me, what do you expect me to do? And I don't think the experts were able to hold them to account. I wish they'd set them side by side and actually first had a debrief with them, and then set them together, and then sort of got to the bottom of the truth, because there's Ashley's truth, there's Grace's truth, and then there's the actual truth in the middle. So I feel like that was a wasted opportunity that they could have used to address whatever concerns were in that relationship. I'm happy actually that they broke up anyway. You had Abby and John just sort of reminiscing on their sort of journey to where they are. I love them as a couple. I really think they're the cutest thing ever. The fact that they're already planning life after the experiment, they're already talking about children and sort of how they're going to grow their family. I love it. And then Bailey and Rebecca, they had a cutesy date. I really loved their date. But sadly, it ended in tears because of the fact that he has a child with somebody else. And if he's going to move and he wants his child to move, that means that mother has to want to move as well. So I get why there's the situation of he cannot move until the mother wants to move, or unless the mother wants to move. And if he cannot move, then Rebecca has to move, because they cannot have a long distance relationship. So I get where both of them are coming from, and I hope they're able to solve that, because if they feel like they found the one, then maybe the best thing is to make the sacrifice that's needed. They might not both need to move to Hove, but maybe they might move very close to Hove, whereby if he needs to see his child, he can go and see his child. So they might need to sort of get a halfway point, because I don't know whether he sees his child every single day. So I can't wait to see what happens with the two of them. But it was a very interesting episode. I enjoyed watching the couple's dates, even though some of them were messy. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 29. Bye everyone.